Let's welcome to the studio Dr. David Klein of the Stages of Life Institute. And today we're going to be talking about something that you may have never related in your life, and that is cancer with various types of sweeteners and sugar. They can actually contribute to the worsening of your cancer condition. Doctor, tell us all about it.
All right. Well, here's how this works. For many, many years, we've observed, intuition, so on and so forth, that individuals that have high blood sugar, diabetes, pre-diabetes, so on and so forth, they were at higher risk for developing cancer. Wouldn't you know? Okay, so it was assumed that the real issue was the immune system. Well, if your blood sugar's high, therefore your immune system must be impaired, and that's what causes the cancer. But it may not be that way at all. Many of the things that have been learned over the years, and this started really in the 1930s, so it's not new, this is 80 years old, was that elevations in blood sugar lead to increased risk of cancer and increased risk of metastasis. Now, why is this? And the why part's the interesting part. Why? Because blood sugar is what drives cancer growth. Cancer cells differ from normal cells, not necessarily by their rate of growth, not necessarily by their morphology or the way they look on the slide, but by the fact that they're obligate glucose consumers. What does this mean? It means they have to use blood sugar. They use sugar as their fuel, their only fuel. Whereas the other cells in your bodies can use triglycerides, amino acids, alcohol, lots of different things other than sugar. So what happens is this. These cells start to grow, they get past your immune system, but the higher the level of sugar in your bloodstream, the more they're going to get jacked up. So it's a lot like taking a kid, your hyperactive nephew, and giving him sugar and caffeine and wondering why he's going crazy. Okay? It's because you're fueling the fire. You got a campfire going, you want to put it out, you use water, you don't use gasoline. So here it is, you've got cancer, you've got a problem. They're going to go ahead and they're going to remove your prostate, or they're going to do whatever needs to be done with radiation and chemotherapy. Yet, your diet can be your worst enemy with regards to the chances of metastasis. Okay, here's how it works. Every bit of sugar that you consume, every bit of glucose that you get, is a shot aimed at your head. You need to look at what you're eating very, very carefully. No high fructose corn syrup. No carbohydrates. You need to cut them out. So something like a South Beach diet would be what you would look at. But if you're out there just willy-nilly going through life going, well, it'll be what it'll be, you're not going to be around nearly as long as the individual that cuts the sugars out of the diet. Now, what else will do it? When you're looking at some carbohydrates, they're far worse than others. Fructose, that which is present in fruit, high fructose corn syrup in Pepsi and Coca-Cola and all these other candies and so on and so forth, are particularly bad. Why? Because they do something even more impressive. Not only do they raise your blood sugar, but they also raise your insulin level, and it's the insulin that drives the sugar into the cancer cells. So anything that raises insulin is going to shorten your life, and not in a pleasant way either. Okay? Dying of cancer is not a pleasant thing. Dying of metastatic cancer is not something people grow up wanting to do. So you really don't want to be increasing the chance of this happening. So your first goal is to decrease the chance of developing the Mets by decreasing high fructose corn syrup and glucose in your diet. You have to decrease your insulin level, and you really need to determine what that is. What does it mean? Get blood work done. Find out what your blood sugar is doing. Find out what your insulin is doing. I could not care less what your A1C is, because it's a late finding anyway. It doesn't really tell you much, and it doesn't allow you the chance to fine-tune your metabolism. Where can you find sugar in your diet? Well, one of my favorite places to look at nature. Okay, high fructose corn syrup comes from what? It comes from corn. Okay, you go out there and corn is dead. It's just a deadly grain. Okay, corn, bad news. So anything where the sweeteners look like high fructose corn syrup, they've got to go away. This is where it gets to be interesting. Okay, your brain also controls the secretion of insulin. So fructose syrups and so on and so forth will do the same thing, because if the brain senses sweet, it will kick up insulin. So you'll go, well, gee, it's stevia. It must be safe for me. And the answer is no. Stevia does the same thing. It jacks your body around. You increase your insulin secretion because your brain senses that there's sweet in your diet. It's very, very interesting how this works. You can go out there and you can do any number of sweeteners. It's the same process. You just simply have to avoid them. So look at your diet very, very carefully, but start here. Go to the internet. Okay, look up wine and what the calorie count is. How much fructose is in a glass of wine? 4 grams per ounce, roughly. That is a lot of fructose. So you sit back and drink 8, 10, 12 ounces of wine. You just took down almost 60 to 80 grams of fructose. Bad news. Dried fruits. Now, they seem awfully healthy, don't they? But they are not. They're poison. So you need to pull the sweeteners out of your diet. Drink your coffee with cream, not creamer, not that artificial garbage, and certainly no sugar. You'll live longer. You'll live a whole lot happier. Go on the net. Look up what vegetables you might be eating to see what the fructose content is. Look up high fructose-containing fruits. It'll tell you what to avoid. And then look up low fructose-containing foods, and it'll tell you what to search for, what to buy. It's very, very easy. The internet's universally available. Okay, if you don't have internet, ask your kids. They'll figure out how to do it for you. But you need to get on there to do it because your life depends on it. Why fructose? Why am I picking on fructose? You know, some people say, yeah, you're out there picking on soy all the time. True enough for thyroid disease, but when it comes down to cancer, fructose is the killer. Anything that inhibits insulin receptors, okay, will cause the insulin level to go up and blood sugar will go up. Okay, insulin chases blood sugar down, but if you block the receptor or you inhibit the receptor activity, insulin goes up, and it's like putting a supercharger on the cell, forcing glucose into the cell. It just makes those little cancer cells grow all the faster. So you've got to do this. Now, what about the pre-diabetic individuals? What about the diabetic individuals? These are folks that are chromium and vanadium deficient. So you can start treating yourself by using vanadium and chromium. Vanadyl sulfate, dosage there is 4 to 40 milligrams daily. Chromium polynicotinate, the one that you want, is between 200 and 800 micrograms a day. You have to be very, very careful with these two mineral moieties because they can be toxic. So you have to know exactly what you're doing. You need to get the dosage right. We have a product called Diabetstat, which is great for folks that really aren't comfortable using their slide rule back in the day or using their calculator to figure out what the dosages are. Not expensive thing to do, but it can bring your insulin down, it can bring your blood sugar down, it can save your life. What else do you want to be taking? Inositol. What does inositol do? Inositol is a 6-carbon carbohydrate that your body uses for non-fructose, non-glucose oxygen supply to give it energy to the cells. It's marvelous, marvelous stuff, but more so it hits a particular protein called SHIP2, which modulates the insulin receptor. Metformin, marvelous medication for lowering blood sugar. It's cheap. The angels over at Publix give this stuff away just to get you through the front door so you can buy their groceries. You need to buy groceries anyway. Buy their medications. It works just fine. But if you lower your insulin, you will prolong your life. Very, very easy, very, very important, but it's terribly important that you do it. Little bits of candy, horrible for you. It's addictive. You know the joke here, and sad, but it's true, but fructose, the junk that's in the candies and whatnot, it's actually more addictive than cocaine. Now, I say that, and you're going to go, well, this guy's really crazy. But rat models show that the rats will prefer the fructose to the cocaine. That happens to be the human model for addiction. So it's no joke. You can't simply pick up one Twizzler, a piece of pseudo licorice, and not eat the rest of the package. You know, the old commercials, I bet you can't eat just one. Those corn nut chips, it's absolutely true. It's highly addictive, highly automatic, and guess what? You just got to stop that stuff. There are liquors out there that are so rich in sugar as to be shameful. So if you need to drink alcohol, okay, you need to go after things like gin and vodka, bourbon, scotch, because they don't contain the same amount of carbohydrates or fructose for that matter. Okay, it's just the way you have to do it. I'm not going to condone the use of these products. Okay, that's just the way life is. But you have to be careful with the mixers, and you have to be careful with wine in particular because the amount of fructose that's in there, and you're going to suffer as a result.
Now, you heard the doctor mention Diabetstat, and that and many more nutraceuticals that have been put together under the supervision of the doctor can be found at the Stages of Life Institute. Now, you can even set up automatic shipment of these nutraceuticals on a timely basis directly for you at stagesoflifevitamins.com, stagesoflifevitamins.com. You want to know more about the doctor, more about the practice, suffernomore.com, and here's more contact information.
Our phone number is 407-679-3337, and our website is stagesoflife.net. We're located in Longwood at 1917 Booth Circle. That's right off of I-4 and 434. And let's see, our office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. The health store that Rob mentioned with all of our nutraceuticals is open during those office hours, but we're also on the web, as I said, at stagesoflife.net, and you can purchase your nutraceuticals at your leisure, and we will ship them to you.